Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Whiskey with Ivy. I had another fabulous, happy week. Of course, I scolded some idiots also, but I ended the week at a great birthday party for a beautiful 80-year-old fabulous lady. You want to know who she is? Give me a call and I'll tell you. I'm sure many of you are reading constantly about the issues that the Hong Kong people are going through now. You know why I never comment? Because people who live in glass houses should not throw stones. And this is why when I look at the DBS branch being burned and the Hong Kongers are saying bad things of our Prime Minister, and now our clever Minister Chan Chun Sing is also opening his mouth, our leaders should refrain from making comments about other countries. They should in fact go there, see what is the real problem, and make sure those problems don't happen in our country. You know, many people don't think that I pray, but yesterday morning when I got up and heard the news about this bomb that is threatening to blow up in all our faces, I actually said a prayer. And this morning when I heard the good news that the disposal was done properly, I said a prayer to thank the universe for keeping all those people involved safe. But the most important thing is 3 cheers to the SCDF and the police and the army. They did a very good job. Last week, I read a few articles which made me think. There's this story about a 91-year-old lady who's so disadvantaged because she also has 2 disadvantaged kids that she has to look after. She's got dementia. And then I read about working in the gig economy, a very thorough report about all the people in the gig economy, especially the food delivery people and people who work for Grab, etc. And then I read about CPF basic retirement amount. And then I read Margaret Chan's article about her view as a pioneer and how well Singapore has done and is doing for people like her. It is quite sad, because when we talk about Singapore as being such a rich country, and yet there are so many people who are labeled as low income. How has this happened? Now, let me make a guess. Many of our own Singaporeans are working very hard, but they are paid peanuts. As this topic of poor people, disadvantaged people is very important to me, and I think also to our country, our poll question for this week is this. What is the biggest cause of poverty in Singapore? Is it A, insufficient CPF for retirement, B, inadequate pay for work done, or C, what other reasons are there which we don't know about? The second question is, what do you think the government can do to help the low income and the disadvantaged in our society? Please give us your suggestions, because I think it is important that we get true answers. Thank you for your help in these questions, because I'm sure, as always, your views on Happy TV are really good and honest views. Now for the results of last week's poll question. I asked you this. At the PAP's 65th convention, the PM spoke of keeping faith in the PAP, and I asked you to rank them on these 4 points, with 1 being the least fulfilled and 5 is the most fulfilled. Number 1, maintaining trust in the party. 72.7% rated them at 1. That means very low trust in the party. 27.3% rated 2, meaning still very low trust in the party. In fact, nobody voted 3, 4, nor 5. Giving hope for the future. 68.2% rated them at 1. 22.7% rated them at 2, and 9.1% rated them at 3. So, not much hope for the future. Building social cohesion. 63.6% rated them at 1, 22.7% rated them at 2, 13.6% rated them at 3. Still no 4 and 5s. And the fourth point, planning leadership succession. 59.1% voted 1, 22.7% voted 2, 9.1% voted 3, 4.5% voted 4, and 4.5% voted 5. Actually, I think they have good planning leadership succession, so I'm quite surprised with the results, but maybe I don't know the ground well too. These wonderful son's words who spurred the parents to foster more kids touched my heart so much. If there are more people like Rajiv Valayutham and his wife Lutz Thomas Audrey and their biological son Rajiv in this country, and more kids were adopted, I'm sure we will have less tortured kids and more happy ones like Rajiv. This week's plant, in case you haven't noticed, is the sweet potato. And it comes in many different colors, and even the sweet potato comes in different colors. It is a most wonderful, easy to grow plant. The sweet potato leaves can be eaten, and the fruit actually is very good because it's got a low glycemic index, and you can eat this instead of rice. It also helps boost fertility and needs very little space to grow. So if you grow this in the little space, maybe we will have more babies. The downside is if you eat too much of this when you have kidney problems, then it may not be so good. But otherwise, do grow it. It's so easy to grow. You can grow it from the tuber, you can grow it from stem cuttings, and it keeps growing. So you just harvest and eat, harvest and eat. Thank you for watching another episode of Coffee and Whiskey with Ivy. And if you haven't visited my farm to see my husband's new bird, please come this weekend. Once again, please subscribe.